Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful Saturday morning here in Palm Coast, and we are here to record episode 146.
Yes, we are.
Of the Family Meeting Podcast. In today's episode, we have all kinds of surprises lined up for you. So stay tuned throughout the episode. It's going to be amazing, unforgettable. You won't regret it.
All right, this concerns me because I am unaware of surprises, which means I don't know what you're going to do.
No, I feel like you have surprises planned for me.
I have no surprises planned.
Wow, that's lame.
But that's like totally typical with our relationship. Lame. I never plan anything for him, and he plans everything for me. He's amazing, and I kind of suck.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it out loud, but shame on you for making me.
I said it for you, so you didn't have to.
Yeah. So we're talking about being friends in your marriage relationship and fostering and building that friendship. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing I would say. A lot of times we have no clue what we're talking about. We just fake it. This time we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, you can actually trust us on this because we are
experts in this area. So
yeah,
I know it seems like we're not friends a lot of time, but we actually are. So we're just really good actors and actresses. Can we say actress nowadays?
I think if you say actors, it just refers to people who act.
Okay, because I don't want to offend you.
I am not offended.
I don't want to offend any of our ladies who are out there.
No, I think actors are men and women at this point. I don't know. I don't know, babe.
Yeah.
No, I'm unsure.
Because I know there's certain things you can't, like you call them servers now instead of waiters and waitresses.
Right. And flight attendants instead of
whatever they were called.
What were they called?
Stewardess,
yes.
Yeah. Stewards? Were the guys stewards? Is that what they were called?
I don't think men did it back then. I think men were the captains and the women. I think it was very unusual to have a man be a flight attendant at that point.
Okay.
But I don't know. So you can tell that there are a lot of things we have no idea what we're talking about.
Exactly.
And I feel like we've proven that to you. But friendship is not one of those things.
No.
So we can talk about this.
Yeah. We do a lot of things. We're going to share 7 things with you on how to foster that friendship. Mm-hmm. And we've got these down.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, while you watch these videos, I hope you can see the friendship that we have after 46 episodes.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things we ought to do is get right into the episode. What do you think?
I totally agree.
You ready to roll?
Let's do it.
All right. Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships.
What? What are you doing?
I'm trying out something new to see if it works.
It doesn't work.
I want to see if it's better than our old intro.
It doesn't work.
We're the Ostercamps. I'm Thomas. This is my wife, Lysandra. Now you say this line like I said the last time.
I cannot do that.
Try it. Just
Hello and welcome to our family. I just want to apologize to everyone on YouTube right now.
See? Friends.
Sorry.
Are you crying?
Yeah, I'm crying a little bit. Okay. Welcome to episode 146 of the Family Meeting Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to share 7 ways to develop friendship in marriage. And I know that it's so cliche when people say, oh, I married my best friend.
Yeah. And everybody's eye rolls like,
yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, whatever. I've seen you 2 together.
Yeah, right.
Definitely not friends. Definitely. You're not even friends. Never mind best friends.
That's true. And we understand that it's cliche. We get that. But if it is a reality in your marriage, it's absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Right?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you do.
I wouldn't know.
Who's your BFF?
That'd be Ryan Livingston.
Ryan, you took me out again.
Shout out to Ryan.
Oh, I
hate that guy. He's nice to me. He's loyal. He's all the things you want in a friend. And there's nobody that is even close second.
This is the worst way to start this podcast episode. It's the worst. I don't even know how to come back from this.
But I want to learn today. So maybe if you follow these 7 steps, then I'll be able to say, she's my best friend.
So you're telling me I need to work on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
hey, if you want to have friends, you got to be friendly.
All right.
I read that somewhere.
Today, we want to share 7 ideas of how to develop your friendship with the person you married.
Now, I know I joke around a lot, but I can honestly say that Lysandra and I are pretty good acquaintances.
We know each other.
We're roommates who happen to be best friends.
Yes.
And there is no one else in this world that I'd rather be with, share with, have fun with, talk to, or just hang out with. And honey,
yes,
you are my person.
Thank you. You're my person too.
But I can say this, we both had to work at this friendship. It didn't happen naturally or by accident. And whether you or your spouse are best friends or just sort of friends, you can invest more into your friendship, and we're going to share exactly how to do that today. So, 7 ways to develop your friendship. What's number 1?
Number 1. This is so simple. Be friendly.
I heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
I just said it.
You just said it. Listen, be friendly. It's like, duh. But at the same time, we see a lot of people who miss this step.
Yeah.
And it really is step 1. You got to be friendly. And I know it sounds so obvious. It sounds so simplistic. But I think it's the most important point that we're going to mention today, to be honest. I think about the Bible verse. And be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Jesus' sake, hath forgiven you.
Yeah.
It's like we skip this with our spouse. We're like this to everyone else in the world. Like, kindness matters. We've all got the t-shirts that are like, when you can't be anything else, be kind. Or like,
Do you have a t-shirt like that?
No, I don't.
Oh, I
but
don't
I
either.
see them.
Okay.
And we're all about kindness in our world today. I feel like people push kindness and whatnot, but yet when it comes to our spouse, we can be so mean. It's almost surprising to me how mean we can be to our spouse. And I think also, like, we've seen this in other couples too, but we've done it ourselves.
Well, and you know what they say, familiarity, however you say that word, it breeds contempt.
Yeah.
So what happens is we get comfortable because we're around each other all the time. And so we just kind of let our guard down. And so really the people who are closest to us, we often treat the worst.
Yeah.
Which is not good for cultivating a good, strong friendship. And when we talk about being friendly, that means you have to put that other person first. Mm-hmm. For instance, in Proverbs, and I don't remember the reference. Actually, I think I do.
17:17?
17:17. Yes, Proverbs 17:17. A man that has friends must show himself friendly. And the idea is that you bend yourself in the direction of the person or people that you want to be friends with. So that means you're interested in what they're interested in. You kind of bend and lean their direction. And it's the idea of putting that person first. And you think about it, when you first started dating, I think about the things that Lysandra enjoyed that I participated in. Why? Because I wanted this girl to like me. Mm-hmm. So that means I listened to opera.
Yes, you did.
I watched musicals.
Yes.
I attempted to be nice to other people.
Because
I knew
you
that
didn't do it very well.
That was important to you.
It was very important to me. You didn't do it well, but you tried.
But it's about putting other people first. And you also did things like you would play basketball and you did other things that you really didn't care about. But because it was important to me and I cared about it, you were involved in. Mm-hmm. And I even think little things like that, we lose that, right?
Yeah.
We lose that sense of bending in the direction. So that means, hey, watch some TV shows they want to watch and do the things they want to do. It's not always about you. And we have people in our lives, all of us, that person is always just about themselves. And how close of a friendship do you want with somebody like that?
Very little. You want to minimize that.
Yeah, if any. It's just somebody you don't enjoy spending time with because you know when I get together with this person, they're only going to talk about themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And so we say be friendly, but there's a lot to it than just putting on a smile or whatever else. It's really about putting that other person first.
Yeah, and there's something about when, you know, when you're pursuing your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your fiance, and you want this person to choose to spend forever with you, and you work really hard to be friendly, I think, in that season. Once you're married then, you no longer have to pursue them as like a committed, you know, you're your spouse now. You're no longer working to get them to commit to you. They have committed to you, but you still have to work to be their friend. That never changes. Like, you still have to work to keep a friendship in your marriage. Even though you know that you're going to be together forever, and that's the commitment you've both made, that doesn't mean you're going to be friends forever.
Well, and here's the bottom line. If you decide to get into marriage and just coast, you probably won't be together forever.
Very true.
So it's not just that you won't be friends. You'll grow so far apart that eventually you're gonna go different ways because you've decided to coast. And we've watched it happen plenty of times where it's, hey, we work so hard to have this relationship and win this person over and get married, and then now I'm married, and it's like, okay, well, you're stuck with me, so I can just coast.
Yeah, don't have to put any effort in. Think about a couple that you have watched be unfriendly to one another. They just were not kind to one another.
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable to be around. You feel really bad for both of them. Sometimes it's more one-sided than the other, where you see like the wife just berate her husband, or maybe you see a husband mistreat his wife, and it's just so uncomfortable, and you're like, wow, that's awful. Think about that, and then make sure that you're guarding against that in your own relationship, and invest intentionally in friendship, in being friendly on your end. And maybe you're listening to this today and you're like, listen, I am doing my best to be friendly, but my spouse is not friendly. It's not reciprocated. It's not received. It's terrible. All I can say is continue to be friendly. You know, unless it's an abusive situation where you need to get out of the abuse, then get out of the abuse. But if it's just a rough marriage or your spouse is just not friendly, you be friendly. You do what's right on your end, because you can't make your spouse do anything, but you can be friendly even if they aren't.
And so number 2 is be fun.
Oh, you're so good at this one.
Be fun.
You excel.
This is where I excel.
Yes.
This is me at the top of my game.
Yeah, you're so fun.
Like, I am Michael Jordan of having fun.
Yes, you are. And you're so cute while you do it too.
Well, I'm cute when I do everything. Honestly.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm adorable.
You are.
Some of you literally just watch the video so you can see how adorable I am. But,
that's why I watch the video.
have you ever watched one of our videos?
No, never.
I was gonna say I don't think you ever have done that.
When you make like the short reels of our videos,
Yeah.
I will watch those.
Okay, yeah.
They're short enough. You know what? That's probably what other people are doing too.
Your short attention span.
People, I don't have time, baby. I do listen to our podcast in my earbuds while I'm cleaning, driving,
Yeah.
painting.
But there are people that they want to see the cuteness, and so they check out the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I don't blame them at all.
But if you want to have an awesome friendship with your spouse, you have to be fun. Mm-hmm. And this is something we tell our daughters over and over again. Fun is a choice.
That's right.
The more fun you share with your spouse, the deeper your friendship will become. And you not only have the fun for that moment, but you have the memories to draw from.
Right.
You can reminisce about fun that you had, and you can kind of relive it.
Yeah, and there are times when like our marriage, maybe not our marriage, but our life is not fun, right? And you guys have those times too, where it's like,
Totally.
This is such a downer. Like, this is a hard season of our life. We're going through something terrible. Maybe we're going through loss. Maybe it's a financial struggle, whatever. But even in those moments, you can talk about the fun that you had in the past and kind of bring that back in, even if maybe it's not a particularly fun season. So fun lasts a lot longer than the moments that you have fun in.
And we've got plenty to choose from, and we have a lot of spontaneous times where we've had a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. We're known to have a lot of fights around here.
Yeah, not like knockdown, drag out fights where we like hit each other or like scream at each other. Not those kind of fights.
We've had water fights in the house. Mm-hmm. We've had snow fights in the house.
Oh, yes. In the house and outside of the house. I'm really happy that we don't live in a place with snow anymore, because I am tired of getting snow shoved down my pants.
Yeah. That's the one thing I miss about snow. We have had Mountain Dew fight.
Yeah, that was a sticky one.
Yeah. I think you started with water and I escalated. That's usually what happens.
That is right there. That is it in a nutshell. I start
happens.
something and Thomas escalates.
I do. I escalate. We've had a butter fight.
Yeah.
Where we were smearing butter all over each other.
That was weird. That sounds more sexual than it was. Like, the kids were around. We were fully clothed. We were just shoving butter in each other's faces.
Yeah. I mean, you could. I mean, that would be probably fun.
Yeah.
But
that's true. Okay, so put it on the list.
Okay.
But the thing is, like,
jot it down.
It's not like we all of a sudden just start putting butter on each other. It starts with like
little
flirting, little challenge more so in the words, verbally. And then pretty soon it's like, oh yeah, and then it goes down this road.
Why don't you tell them about our last fight?
Our last fight was completely your fault. I did not start it.
That's a lie.
No, because the way that you said that's a lie proves that I am right, because it totally sounded fake. We were at our dining room table. We had supper, and there were a lot of mixed vegetables left. I made too many mixed vegetables.
Way too many. Yeah. I don't know how many bags you made, but the whole giant pot was half full.
I had these hopes and desires that everybody would eat tons of vegetables. We always eat vegetables at every meal.
And they were great. Butter melted in and all kinds of stuff. It was really good.
They were good vegetables. But I made too many. And you started it at the table by you came at me verbally at the table.
Oh, please. No one buys this. You guys don't buy this, do you?
They buy it.
Come
they
on.
know.
No, that does not sound
it's
like
very
me.
obvious. So then we were clearing the table. The kids and us were clearing the table. We end up at the kitchen island where the kids are trying to package food and stuff. And you said something. And you said, I'll do it. And you threw a single pea at me.
That's right. Yes, I did.
You threw a single pea. And I had the pan.
She had the pan with all the vegetables.
Serving spoon. And I held up that ladle, big serving spoon of mixed vegetables, and I was like, you don't think I'll do it, do you?
I honestly did not think you would do it.
I know, and that's what made me want to do it, because you were like, there's no way she's going to do this because it's going to mess up the house.
It's going to be a mess, and you don't like mess.
I hate messes. Yeah. And then this is what made the decision. Catherine said, Mom, if you do it, I'll clean it up.
That's right. She did. She absolutely did. You're right. She instigated.
Yeah. And that's because I know that the whole family knew Mom doesn't want to throw vegetables at Dad because it's going to make the house a mess.
Yes.
So I threw vegetables anyway. I threw that whole spoon of vegetables at you. You ducked, and I think most of them missed you. Did you get hit by any?
Very few.
Yeah.
So then what happens?
You escalate.
I escalate. So she's over there with the whole pot that is half full.
Laughing.
And I get up behind her with both my arms behind her, and I grab the pot. And I literally dump it down her chest, the entire pot with like the vegetable juice, the melted butter, the everything.
I was trying to scream but couldn't scream. It was like.
So then she just started taking handfuls and throwing them at me.
We had a straight up food fight in our kitchen. Now this is what's funny though. This is actually what's really funny is like 3 days later, we have a coffee bar. Kind of in between our kitchen and living room. And there are pretty mugs hanging on the wall. And it was like maybe 3 days later, I had someone over for the first time. I had never really gotten to know this very sweet lady. And I offered her coffee and she said yes. So I had coffee as well. We both had the pretty blue mugs from the wall. And we're sitting and we're talking. We're deep in discussion. And I finished my coffee. And when I took the last drink of the coffee, I felt something hard in my mouth. And so I tried to play it off, and I just spit whatever it was back in the mug. And as I'm setting the mug down, I just casually look inside the mug to see what did I just put in my mouth? And it was a shriveled up rotten pea that had gotten in the mugs when we had our food fight.
And then we're just praying, oh Lord, help her not to have a bean in there or something.
I was so worried that my new friend had a green bean in her coffee that she was trying to play off. Well, after she left, I checked the bottom of her coffee mug and it was clear, so we were okay. But that's the kind of fun that we have in our house. Well, one of the kinds of fun.
Yeah, and we just the spontaneous fun, out of nowhere. You never just know what's going to happen at any moment.
No, you did not. I just took a shower.
You don't even know what's going to happen at any moment. Careful for the technology.
Do you expect me to go through this entire podcast with an egg on my head now?
All right, it's spontaneous fun.
Is it?
Careful for the technology. Let's not get the technology.
There's an egg on my chair. What am I supposed to do with this?
Oh, come on. Not on the shirt. Seriously.
Listen, you totally did this.
I did. Totally did this.
I have egg on my head now.
Yeah. The spontaneous fun, though. I mean.
Okay, give me that towel.
I even brought a towel because I planned for it.
I can't believe that you did this, though. I mean, I should know that you did this, but I didn't think you would do this when you knew I just took a shower.
So before we got on and to record the podcast, I was telling those on YouTube, we had some surprises planned for today.
Some?
What?
Tell me that's it.
I don't know.
You are dripping eggs off your shirt.
We'll wait and see what happens. So
there's eggs dripping on my face.
But that spontaneous fun where you never know what's going to happen. Fun strikes out of nowhere.
All right, listen, this is the other thing that I was literally about to say about fun. Now I just want to cry. But I was going to say about fun that, like, you have to accept the fun and let things go to have fun. Like, let go of the messy house. I was going to talk about the vegetables. Like, you got to let go of the fact that it's going to make a mess, right? And just decide you're going to just go all in and have fun. But now I'm mad.
I knew you would not see this coming at all.
I didn't. I can't believe you just did that. I have an appointment after this.
Yeah, you do. I know.
Guess what? You just took my appointment. Yeah. Now you're going to go take the kids and I'm going to go shower.
I know.
Actually, you're covered in egg too right now.
So, but the thing is, your friendships can't survive on old memories of fun forever.
Yeah.
So you have to have fun.
You can reminisce about fun, but that's not going to last forever.
And there's one thing, like we're never going to forget episode 146 because of the fun we've had on this show.
I just want to get you back.
I know.
I don't know how.
But and that's true too about fun. Give a little, take a little.
Yeah, I take a lot. I take a lot. And I don't know how I'm going to clean this chair.
Yeah, I don't know. I knew you could do it though. Oh. But Proverbs 17:22 says a joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. So I gave you a healthy dose of medicine today.
I feel like you gave yourself a joyful heart and medicine, and you gave me dried up bones because my spirit is now crushed.
I don't know. That smile on your face is different.
I can't help it because I love you. People do say this to me all the time. How do you not get so angry with him? And here's how. Because I care about our friendship. Because, like, I want this to be fun. And if I get mad when he crushes an egg on my head, then it's no longer fun. It's a fight. But fun is more important to me. Friendship is more important to me. So
I will say in having fun, the way we have fun may not be the right fun for you. Like, don't cross lines, your spouse's lines while having fun. So I will say that. This is not a line crossed.
No, it is not, unfortunately. I really need to move my line.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to number three? Excuse me. Number three. Point number 3.
And, hey, this segues into it.
It does.
With everything that's happened.
I guess so. Because this is the one that I have to remember so often. Be loyal. Be a loyal friend. Invest in loyalty. So this means that your spouse can wholeheartedly trust you with their whole self. They know you're not going to share their secrets.
Yeah.
You're not going to share their insecurities. And the things that they share with you in private is going to stay in private, right? So now this doesn't mean like if your spouse has a pornography addiction.
Right. We're not talking about keeping sin a secret.
Yeah. You're going to share that maybe with your pastor or a therapist or somebody who can help your spouse like stop sinning. Okay. But we're talking about secrets like, when I was a kid, I was abused and I this isn't something I want to go public with, but you can keep that secret, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, insecurities and things like that. But they can trust you in every way, including you being faithful to them. So, we're talking about keeping their insecurities to yourself, not parading those around. We're talking about, maybe their secrets, maybe the things that they have shared with you that are closest to their heart, but they can also trust you to be faithful. You're not going to flirt with other people. You're not going to have emotional affairs. You're not going to have physical affairs. Faithfulness in every way means they can trust you because you are loyal. And you think about friendships that you have that are not your spouse, like just friendships. the friends that you have that are very close to you are loyal. If they are not loyal, they are no longer your friend.
Yeah.
Friendship over.
Most
really.
definitely.
Yeah. Like,
you hold them at a distance.
Absolutely. At the very least. Yeah. So think about what that does when you break trust with your spouse. It's almost like friendship over. And you might have to work really hard to rebuild the friendship again because that breaks friendship.
Yeah. And we often talk about levels of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Brownfield, when I was a teenager, I heard him talk about security clearance levels of friendship.
Yeah.
And so you have certain people that really don't have any security clearance at all. You're just acquaintances, just people you know, and you just kind of, it's a very superficial relationship. And then you have people that are closer. They start to learn about you. They have access to your life. And then you have those who have complete security clearance level access.
Right.
They're the closest to you. Now, if you abuse that clearance level and you lose trust, what happens is you're pushed out and relegated. Your access is taken away.
Yeah.
So making sure that you do everything you can do to maintain that level of trust. You want to be loyal to that person. And I think about what it tells us in Proverbs 31:11 about this godly woman. And it says this: the heart of her husband trusts in her. And I really like that. And it is definitely true. I could say this of Lysandra, that my heart totally trusts in her. I know that she has my best interests at heart, that she's going to keep my secrets. I trust her completely with absolutely every area of my life. It's impossible to have a deep friendship without that level of trust. So I want to say this to guys, okay? And girls, obviously you could be guilty of the same thing. But if when you get together with other guys or other couples and you're talking negatively about your spouse, okay, that's a lack of loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
You're showing loyalty to the guys over loyalty to your wife, and that's not cool.
Right.
And that is something that will destroy your friendship with your wife. And that friendship ought to be more important to you than your friendship with the guys. You can have a close friendship with your guys without bashing your wife, without betraying that trust. So making sure you have that priority. Not only can I safely trust in her, but I want her to be able to safely trust in me.
Right.
You can't have a close friendship without it.
And let me just mention back to what Thomas said in our last point, that there are lines that can be crossed, right? And even with this loyalty, there's kind of a line. So Thomas knows things that I don't want shared about myself, and he knows not to cross that line, and vice versa. So we know what we can and cannot say in a public setting. And that's part of being loyal as well, because you can trust that person. In the good and the bad and the ugly, be loyal to your spouse. From their best moments to their worst, you got to stick by your friend's side. You got to be there for them and be loyal to them, even when things are hard.
Yes. And number 4 is be available.
This one's hard for me. I work at this. You're better.
Yeah, most definitely.
You're better at this one than I am.
Yeah, because I actually enjoy spending time with you. Whereas,
well, I don't put eggs on your head, so
well, I literally have eggshell on my head right now. This whole episode.
We need to just take a picture of your head right now.
Because you did put an egg on my head and you smeared egg all over my shirt.
Yeah.
So you can't really say that.
You deserved it. You got back what you gave.
But think about this. If you don't have time for a friend, they quickly get the message.
Yeah.
That this person doesn't really want to be my friend, or at least my close friend.
Yeah, and I have gotten this message from other people before, where you're like, hey, we should hang out sometime. And they're like, yeah, we totally should. Oh, this week's really busy. Oh, next week's really busy. And then you start to think, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's sending a message. It's kind of a nice way of letting down someone that you don't want to spend time with. And so you can just be like, okay, I'm going to let that person go. They're not really interested in this friendship, and that's cool with me.
Well, and it's not necessarily that they don't want to spend time with you. It's just we all have a limited amount of time. And so we make time for the people that are closest to us. Mm-hmm. We make time for our closest friends and our closest relationships. And it may just be a person who's not. Right? They're not going to be a close friend to us for whatever reason. But if you don't spend time with somebody, you're not going to be close with each other. And we find this in different scenarios all the time where people's schedule change or they go to a different church or whatever else, and now you're not spending as much time together. What happens is that friendship naturally just kind of, you drift apart and you're not as close. Why? Because you don't have that time that's spent together. So if you want to be really close with your spouse, you have to spend more time together. You've got to make an effort to hang out with them regularly and keep up with them in between hanging out.
Yeah, that's important too.
And one of the things I learned the older I get, I'm going to be 43 in October.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm up there. But this is what I've learned. Time is our most valuable commodity. It really is. It's the most valuable thing that we have and that we can give somebody. So schedule regular time with your spouse and have lots of contact through messenger, email, text, or phone calls. And this was funny because this happened yesterday. Yesterday morning, we were getting ready for family day and we had decided what we wanted to do. And I remember you sent me a message, and we message so often depending upon, and we don't always send messages in the same app. Sometimes it's a text, sometimes it's Messenger or whatever else.
Slack.
So I was trying to scroll back and find, and I'm literally like, man, we message way too many messages.
Yeah.
So, and we're sitting there side by side while I'm trying to get it, and it's like we're remembering different messages that we'd send to each other. And, you know, some photos, recipes, memes. I mean, we're just friends.
Yeah.
We keep in contact all the time, every day.
Yeah. Even in between the times that we spend time together. So like we have scheduled planned times when we spend time together. We have surprise times that we get to spend time together. But even in between those times when we're like very, very busy with appointments and work and other stuff, we keep in contact, not just with like the business side of things, like the kids have to go here, I'm going here, but also with fun.
Yeah.
Like just constantly in contact back and forth with one another through different apps or whatever we want to do.
So you need to make that time a priority. And so another part of this is being dependable, being reliable. Keep your engagements and arrive on time. And this is something that we think about all the time. If you're going to keep your job, you show up to work when you're supposed to show up. You show up on time. And yet, when it comes to our spouse, oftentimes, we don't view that as a high priority. And so we're constantly canceling for all kinds of different reasons. And one of the things that I do is I put it on the schedule. Like if we're scheduled to be together and spend time together, that is an appointment in my schedule. Mm-hmm. And so I block it off and I don't let people into that time frame. Now, obviously, if there's an emergency or whatever else, things do come up, but those things are so rare. We just kind of use that as an excuse. Mm-hmm. But if you're always canceling with your spouse or letting other people or appointments take the place of time with them, they'll quickly see where they rate in your priorities.
Right.
And I think about Ephesians 5:16 that says this: making the best use of time because the days are evil. And so understanding that, hey, we've got a limited amount of time. I want to make the best use of it. And when it comes to the people that should be prioritized in your life to get that time, your spouse should be right at the top. I mean, they really should. So make sure that you are being available to spend time with your spouse, and that's on a regular basis. So I encourage people, have a regular date time. I have times throughout the year where you're getting away, just the two of you. Yep. So making that time for each other. And we'll move on to number 5.
Number 5 is be generous. Okay, so kind of Thomas mentioned this a little bit earlier about those friends who you have in your life who they always just want something from you, and you immediately distance yourself from them. What if your spouse is the one who's always trying to get and never give? You kind of, that distance comes in naturally, right? So in order to develop your friendship, you have to make an intentional effort to be generous. And there are different ways that you're going to be more giving to your spouse. And you can even ask yourself this question, and this is something that I like to ask myself, is what can I do for my spouse that will make their life better? What can I do to make their life easier? What can I do to bless them? How can I make a difference in my spouse's life? So another way that you can be generous is you're going to be a generous listener, okay? You're going to be generous in a lot of different ways, but one is by listening. Truly listen to your spouse. Don't just spend all the time that they talk framing what you're going to say next.
Yeah.
You're going to be generous with your attitude, your gratitude. You're going to repeatedly, continuously show them and express your gratitude. Be generous with that. Sometimes we think like, oh, I'm the one who's always giving. I'm the one who's always doing for my spouse. So I'm not going to thank them for the little thing that they did. They don't even deserve a thank you. That's not going to develop your friendship at all. That will distance yourselves. So express that gratitude often, and, just tell your spouse how much they mean to you. Give those verbal affirmations. They're so important. And maybe you think, my spouse already knows I love you. I told them I love you when we got married. So that should pretty much be good for the next 55 years. No. Okay. The verbal affirmation is important and should be heard often.
Yeah.
Not just at the beginning and you can just live a lifetime on one I love you. So you're going to be generous with not only listening, but with speaking and expressing gratitude. And you're going to also be generous by giving them the time and space that they need. So sometimes you need to just be generous and give your spouse guilt-free space where like they can have time with their friends or their family and you're not going to guilt them about it. You're going to let them have that time. You're going to be generous in that way. So these are some of the areas that you can be generous, but this is really important to develop your friendship.
And I think one of the things we need to be generous with too is our energy. So
yes.
we've talked about time already, but I think a lot of times those who are closest to us, especially our spouse, we give them whatever's left over.
Mm-hmm.
So, we come home from work or from whatever else, and we've given all the energy we can give. I think, us introverts maybe have a little harder time with this, where we've given people all the energy that we have in this environment, in this setting, and then we come home and we just kind of veg out and we don't really give a lot of energy or time to our spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so in doing that, we kind of tell our spouse, these other people are more valuable than you. I'm willing to give them my energy, but I'm not willing to give it to you.
Yeah.
And
that hurts the friendship.
We need to be giving the best energy to our spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding where our limits are and understanding, okay, I only have a limited amount of energy that I'm going to spend socially, and you need to prioritize that time with your spouse.
And I have a really hard time with this one too, because I naturally am bent toward other people and giving to other people. And we just had this the other day because it was the anniversary of the day that Thomas told me he loved me. Meanwhile, I had a paint job that was canceled that day. So, well, I should say postponed. But anyway, so we had a free day and it happened to be an anniversary. So It was really great. We had some time to spend together. We really made the most of our day. It was fabulous. And then in the evening, we went to our connection group. And I said before connection group, oh, we can have supper together after connection group tonight, and we'll spend our last little hours together after group tonight. And then at connection group, a couple of my friends were like, hey, you want to go on a walk after connection group? I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. And you looked at me and remember what you said? Seriously?
Yeah, I literally just stopped the group.
Yeah, because I totally ditched him to go hang out with friends.
So you got a better offer, and I was just dropped like a bad habit.
Which, that's actually not true. What really happened is I totally forgot. In that moment, I had forgotten the plans that we had made. I had forgotten that it was our anniversary. My mind was gone. It just it was out of my mind. So of course I was like, oh, my bad. No, I can't go on a walk. We're going to go home and have supper together and be together, which is what I wanted. but I had forgotten about it. So this is something that I have to truly work on, because it makes Thomas feel like a second class friend when he's not. He is my best friend.
I will say at that point in the night, I was more than happy for you to go on a walk.
Yeah,
with your friends, and I was totally okay with that.
Right, you were getting tired, but at the same time, once I remembered that, I really didn't want to. I wanted to be with you. I just had forgotten. So something to kind of work on, being available.
Number 6 is be encouraging. A good friend is uplifting and not negative and depressing all the time. Now, that doesn't mean there's never a time to talk to your spouse about the difficult things in life.
Right.
And we've talked about that plenty on the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thomas and I are not only fair weather friends.
Exactly.
We are friends through thick and thin, when it gets bad, when it gets hard, when there's sorrow.
Well, and the scripture tells us faithful are the wounds of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean we just go around just, being nasty. So we do have some hard conversations. We'll talk about that in just a second here. But overall, you ought to be positive and you ought to be encouraging.
Right.
People like to be around someone who makes them feel better, not someone who poisons their time together with toxic negativity. And I can remember years ago at a church we were working at, and there was a person in our church that was just negative about absolutely everything. You'd fix up an area of the church that was run down and falling apart, and paint it, give it a fresh look, and all this kind of stuff. And it was like never any positive things to say. Like, oh, I don't care for that color, or it stinks like paint in here, or just all of that.
Yeah.
And there were times where I would be walking into the front of the auditorium, and I'd see this person walking in the back of the auditorium, and it was like, okay, I'm choosing a different route to get to the back of the auditorium because I don't have the energy to deal with this negative person right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just people that you don't want to be around.
Yeah.
Because of how toxic and how negative that they are.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for us to limit our exposure to those kind of people anyway.
But what if you're married to those kind of person?
To them, that's a whole different story.
Oh, man.
And so that ruins the friendship is what we're saying. Because you don't want to be around that negativity all the time. But the kind words you have for your spouse can be like medicine for their soul. Be supportive. Cheer your spouse on when they win, whatever a win looks like for them. Cry with them when they lose, when they're having a tough time. Laugh with them when either of you do something stupid.
How often do you have opportunities to laugh with me when I do something stupid?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. You're always asking questions that are stupid. They say there's no stupid questions. That's not true.
When do I ask stupid questions?
You say things like...
Yeah, I don't ask stupid questions, right? I say things that are... inappropriate, but I don't know they're inappropriate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was like
yeah.
the first. I'm going to tell this story.
Oh,
this
great.
This is one of those things.
I don't know what it is. Okay.
So we meet this couple that just started coming to our church in Iowa. This is over a decade ago, and we decide we're going to go on a double date to Des Moines and to go to a restaurant and stuff. And they drove. So Lysandra and I are sitting in the back seat with this couple that we barely know, and I don't even think they were part of our church yet. I think they were still visiting and guests. And we're driving down the road, and I forget what you were talking about, whether it's our van or something else.
I saw a van pull up next to us.
And you said, it's a shaggin' wagon.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant.
And I don't know these people well at all. And obviously, they don't know us well at all. And they're like, did the pastor's wife just say shaggin' wagon?
I didn't know what it meant.
And finally, I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I lost it. And then everybody in the van starts, well, everybody but Lysandra, starts laughing.
Yes.
And she has no idea why we're all laughing. And so we had to literally explain to her what the shaggin' wagon was.
Yeah, I didn't know what shagging was at that point. I didn't know that term.
Yeah, she was very sheltered.
Very. And so
there's a lot of times. There's been other things where it's like she's sitting and having a conversation with people behind me in church. And she's talking about the fact that we go to bed early, but you were telling him we don't always go to sleep when we go to bed. Sometimes we play games in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is she literally telling them we play games in bed like this?
Yeah.
And the church we were in at the time was like way more like
ultra conservative.
Yeah, so you don't talk about those sort of things at all.
Yeah, no.
But yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunities to laugh at stupid things. I laughed at Thomas when he threw something at me in the car and then tried to make a quick getaway, and the car door slammed into his face.
It's the door was closing while I was turning to mess with Lysandra, and I was gonna jump out of the car real quick, and I didn't realize the door was like 90% closed, and I literally just bashed my face right into the window.
It was fabulous. So I of course laughed right away, but it didn't take a couple of seconds, and you started laughing too.
Yeah.
We're just like, so you gotta laugh when stupid things happen, and that's part of having fun too. But being there for them with whatever happens. But let's look at number 7. Let's look at our last point for today. Investing in your friendship. If you're going to make a strong investment in your friendship, you have to be honest. You have to be truthful. And a true friendship consists of two people who are totally honest with each other. You got to be truthful about your feelings. You hear that, Thomas?
Yes.
How do you feel right now?
I feel a little disgusting because I have this egg all over me.
Yeah, you know what? Halfway through this podcast, I started like itching my arm, and I realized it was because
Like
there's egg yolk drying.
Dry, crusty egg.
And it turns out when a raw egg dries, it gets very crusty and just dries out your skin. We're gonna have like patches of dry skin. We need moisturizer, so we all feel sticky and gross.
That's honestly how I feel right now.
That's how you feel. But you got to be truthful about your opinions. So that means like, I really don't want to go to that restaurant. I don't really want to go hang out with those people, or I do. Or I think we should move, or I think we shouldn't move, or you should work towards that promotion, or you shouldn't work towards that promotion. All of these are opinions that you're going to have to be honest about.
Well, we're talking about being honest. That's not a pass to be mean either.
No.
So like if Lysandra asks me a question about her attire, or how she looks, or whatever else, I'm going to give her my honest opinion, but I'm going to be very kind in the way that I do it.
Yeah. No
Otherwise,
insults.
she doesn't ask the question in a certain way.
Exactly. So if your spouse's actions or decisions concern you, you've got to share your heart with them in a non-judgmental or confrontational way. Like you can do it in a kind way. Be direct. Remember, Thomas said, faithful are the wounds of a friend.
Yeah.
So it's better to be honest. A true friend will be honest with you, but that doesn't mean it's a free pass, get out of jail free card to just hurt and wound your spouse. That will not develop your friendship. I hope that you would already know that, right? But we've got to be honest about stuff. And even when we disagree, we might have a disagreement. Don't let that fester. Don't let it damage your friendship. You've got to be understanding. And part of being honest is being authentic in who you are, being real with them. Not being fake, and that will develop your friendship too when you really truly know the person. Okay, let's talk about disagreements. Rather than getting all upset and flying off the handle when you disagree or you get offended or whatever, you're going to seek to understand your spouse. You're going to seek to understand their perspective rather than get angry. And this is all part of honesty, because then you're going to be honest about how you feel after you have thought about this situation and you've really sought to understand their perspective. Another aspect of this is you are going to be honest with them to help their lives, not to hinder them.
Yeah.
To enrich them. And a true friend will really add value to their friend by having a lifestyle that values them. Iron sharpens iron. So the man sharpens the countenance of their friend. And that is a Bible verse that we find in Proverbs. I want to sharpen Thomas. I don't want to just be the kind of friend who gets an egg cracked over their head and laughs it off. I want to also sharpen him and say like, hey, how'd your Bible reading go today? What's going on? What's God speaking to you about right now? I want to help him grow and learn and develop professionally, spiritually, physically. I want him to be in good health. All of these.
Socially.
So yeah, we're still working on socially, baby.
Yeah.
But I want to sharpen his countenance. I don't want to just be the kind of friend who's like shallow and hangs out, although that's an important part of a friend. But we want to go deeper than that in our friendship.
And you notice once again about being honest. This is one of those things where if you don't have honesty, it really hinders how close of friends you can be.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because if you are not close enough where you can have honest conversations with somebody, you're not really close.
Right.
If you're worried about, hey, the friendship is going to be lost if I'm honest, well, you're not really that close. Mm-hmm. And so you have to work to develop the closeness to where you feel like, hey, I can be honest and we can have these conversations. And a friendship doesn't just happen overnight. Not a close one. I mean, there are people that we click with and we enjoy, and it can get off to a really quick and a fast start. But that true close friendship doesn't just happen overnight.
Right.
It happens as you spend time together. You know, it happens as you be friendly. You make them a priority.
Yes.
It happens as you have fun together. It happens when you're loyal to that person. It happens when you're available to them. It happens when you're generous with your time and your energy and all of this stuff. It happens when you're encouraging, when they know, hey, this person's in my corner and they're cheering me on. And it happens as you can have open and honest conversations with each other. And I hope these 7 things, will help you as you seek to have a closer relationship and a closer friendship with your spouse. And we want to encourage you to have a family meeting tonight and just discuss your friendship. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like you have a really close friendship? Do you feel like you are married to your best friend? Or would you say, you know what? Honestly, I have better friends than my spouse. And part of that is having the conversation and evaluating. Okay, so what kind of friendship do we actually have? What are some areas we need to work on?
Yeah, and I think, what you said just a second ago, you talked about like, are there other friends that are closer to you than your spouse? Let me just throw this in here. Whatever you feed grows.
Yeah.
What are you feeding? Are you feeding those other friendships more than you're feeding your spouse and your spouse's friendship? Whatever you feed grows.
And other friendships are important. We're not saying that. But your spouse ought to be your closest friend.
Yes.
But what area do you think you need to work on? What area do you think your spouse needs to work on? Do they need to work on being friendly? Maybe they need to work on being fun. I'm married to the fun killer over here.
Yep.
So maybe it's loyalty. They need to work on being available. Just spend all your time with all these places doing all these things with all these other people and you don't have time for me. Maybe it's generous. Like, why are you so stingy with your time and your energy? Why are you so stingy when it comes to our relationship? And yet you seem to be so generous with everybody else. Generous with grace and mercy and understanding and patience. What about encouraging? Man, you're not very encouraging to me. This is one of the things, words are. I mean, when it comes to Lysandra, I am all about seeing her succeed in every area of life to her fullest potential and fulfilling all the dreams that she wants to in this life. But sometimes I have a hard time remembering to verbalize those things. So that's something that I need to work on. But what about that encouragement? Or maybe, hey, you need to work on being honest. So pick a day, put it on the calendar, and plan that day to be a friendship development day.
Woohoo!
You can tell I didn't come up with that idea.
That's my idea.
I wouldn't call it that.
Friendship development day. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
What would you call it?
You sound like the chick off of Parks and Rec right there.
Leslie. Nope.
Yeah. That's something she would say. Friendship development.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally understand and vibe with Leslie Nope. But anyway, what would you call it?
I would call it Thomas and Lysandra's Day of Fun.
That's from Friends. That's
Yep.
What's her name?
Joey and Janice.
Yeah, Joey and Janice's Day of Fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but have fun, be honest, encourage each other, and practice kindness.
Yeah. That sounds like a really fun assignment for this week. I can't wait to fulfill that assignment ourselves. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. If you'd like, you can shoot us a text or call us and send a voice message to 904-257-3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting.
Forgot that next word.
Sorry, guys. Our next family meeting. What are we going to discuss? We are going to discuss choosing your battles with your kids. If everything's a big deal, then nothing's a big deal.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are things we need to chase down and other things we can let them lie and just let them alone. So we're going to talk about that next week.
Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned. Boom.
I feel so gross right now. I have to get in the shower. We got to wrap this up.
So I just think it's about having fun. It's crusty. It's dried and stuck to my head, this egg. But at least I don't have egg on my face. So there is that.
I have egg on my face. It dripped right down here. So I have egg on my face. And
So she said she wanted a shower. You guys heard it. She said she needed a shower. And so that was surprise number 2. So I told you guys, episode full of surprises.
why is this how you have fun? I am sitting in a pool of water. It feels like I wet myself, but it's cold.
You said you wanted a shower. Did you not say that?
I said it.
Okay, so, hey, I'm here to help you. That's what friends do.
You're a terrible friend. I don't have anything to put on you.
That's what friends do. They're there for each other. No, don't.
You know what I always have is chapstick.
Okay, that's enough. Oh, here comes.
I think I've ruined my chapstick. Oh, Coconut's coming. He's worried.
Coconut heard
baby,
you. He's
it's
like,
okay.
What's happening?
It's okay, baby. Daddy's mean, but it's okay.
Yeah. So the dog is here now.
Come here. You want to say hi to YouTube? Come here. Come here. Come here.
Yeah. You want to say hello to everybody?
Okay, ready? Whoa. Dear.
There's Coconut. Hi, boy. What do you want to say to the people out there, Coconut? Huh? What do you want to say?
Say ruff, ruff.
All right.
He's confused because we are such a mess. So here's Coconut surprise number 3 for the day.
Yes. Hi, boy. You's a great boy. Yeah. He's a true friend. Man's best friend right there.
Okay, we got to go shower. Love you guys. Have an awesome week.
See you later.